hi, can you introduce yourself first of all?
Hello, my name is William Bond. I am the head of the history department for the middle school here at Shiwai International School, and it's my second year here. Prior to that, I taught cultural history and language at one of the universities here in Shanghai.
Great. We're talking about technology today. First of all, what do you think about using technology in the classroom?
Generally, I think it's a positive thing. I think it can really aid a teacher. It's almost, at a basic level, essential now. Certainly things like PowerPoint, for example. It's very, very hard to imagine teaching a lesson now without having access to PowerPoint in the classroom, as well as audio-visual, playing movies and video clips and so on. It's just so useful.
What kind of technology have you used in the past then? What kind of examples can you give?
Probably
Other than
one
PowerPoint.
Best ones I ended up doing was at a language class. I've got the PPT somewhere where I created, it was a choose your own adventure game on PowerPoint. And then, the students had to read the dialogue, discuss what choice they wanted to make next. It was a very silly adventure sort of thing involving, a quest for a dragon's lair or something with pictures and then animations and so on. And the idea was you'd display the slides, that students would then make a choice, which one do they want, which decision do they want to make and then why, and they'd have to argue, and then there would be a vote, and then they would click the respective button, and then the PowerPoint would advance along the story. And that was a really engaging lesson, language lesson.
Did you make that?
Yes, I made it. I discovered how difficult it is to do in PowerPoint as a result. It was a very big learning experience, but it's actually probably the reason I'm quite good with PowerPoint now, was all the things I learned with that.
Okay, and what kind of technology would you most like to use in the future other than PowerPoint?
Briefly, I've used interactive whiteboards before, which are very useful, but I'd like to have more access to those, certainly. Obviously, teaching history, I think what would be an amazing, if we're talking about future tech,
future tech, yeah.
I think one of the big kind of things that's coming out in technology right now is virtual reality as an application of computers. And obviously, you have this thing called in cinemas in some of the big parks, like 60, where it has like wind machines and smells and things like that to kind of access. Obviously, this would be going very far into the future, at the very least, an idea of virtual reality goggles could help you. Maybe you could really kind of help students to get an incredible feeling of maybe what the World War I was like or something, if they could do a virtual reality tour of maybe the trenches or something like that.
Have you seen these virtual reality tours on the internet that you can do now? They're not obviously virtual reality, but in the same sense. But
I haven't actually tried one because I haven't actually been able to get a hold of a pair of goggles myself yet. I've seen that such things kind of exist at the moment, and obviously that could be a really interesting way of, I think, engaging students and helping them get a feeling of a sense of place in history, certainly.
Okay, how do you feel that technology improves a lesson? Obviously these things are fun, but do you think it actually improves a lesson?
I think it can be certainly engaging, and fun. I think it's a big time saver. It's one of probably the biggest things. I mean, previously, before any form of technology, when the best you had was a blackboard, you had to write everything down on there, and that can take time. So a simple piece of efficiency can help you there, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things it can do, as well as it gives you flexibility. I mean, these different tools we have, it allows you to do different things, whether it's showing videos and audio clips and so on as well. It just creates variety, basically.
Okay, what kind of limitations might technology have?
Well, I think the biggest one is if you rely on it and it doesn't work. I think every teacher who's gone into a classroom with a lesson prepared has found computer says no, PowerPoint not working, and then you learn how well you can adapt, basically. So I think the issue with technology is if you tend to rely on it too much, you can suddenly be at a loss when it does fail.
Certainly. Have you ever used technology as a homework, and in what way did you do that?
I've started using EasyClass, which is like an online platform where you can kind of register students in the classroom, You can assign homework over there. You can put tests on there and keep track of their scores and grades. So I've used that. Sometimes on the weekend here, yep, I've assigned them homework which involves them having to access websites and sort of do some tasks based on that. There was one I used where they learn a bit about archaeology. They did an online archaeological dig, and at the end of their completing it, they got a little certificate which they had to print off and bring to me for an example. So yes, you can. That's a useful thing to do.
Cool. That sounds really good. Do you personally stay up to date with technological trends?
Ish. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm incredibly up to date on these
Not
things.
a techie.
Yeah, but I like to know what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reasonably into computers. I sort of roughly understand how they work.
Where would you get your sort of information from?
Generally access websites. Yeah. Go on to like Wired.com, for example, is one, just to kind of get a view, feel for what's happening. Generally, if I go onto some educational websites, they might talk about some of the things of technology. But I wouldn't say I'm super. I'm super into sort of technology in general.
A few more questions. Do you think internet safety is important, and do you think teaching internet safety is a very important thing?
I mean, certainly. I mean, safety in the internet is a hard thing for a teacher to police. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm asking students to do some research online, I can point them towards some websites or something, but obviously maybe you want them to learn, you can teach them maybe how to use the internet to find kind of reputable sources. Obviously what they do on the internet in their, beyond that, I mean, I think is more of a scope for parents to deal with, really. Right. I mean, if they're at home over the weekend researching something, I can tell them where to look. If they start looking elsewhere, I can't really do anything about that.
Right, okay, great. Couple more questions. Do you think teachers who aren't using technology in the classroom have become outdated?
Not necessarily. I don't think they're outdated, because I think, technology is just an aid towards, presenting the information and the ideas and concepts you want the students to start thinking about. So I wouldn't say they're outdated, and obviously, hundreds of years people talk without it, but I guess maybe they are missing some strings to their bow which they could use to enhance their lessons in some way. Certainly.
Do you think technological trends help you to connect with students?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, they you can kind of gain their interest and attention by discussing technology, because they're kind of very with it. I remember when I finally linked my bank card to my Taobao, the online, just an online Amazon thing here in China, and I was able to buy things online on China on my phone, and I was explaining to my students at university very excitedly about this, and they were all kind of rolling their eyes going, yeah, that's really clear. We've been doing that for ages. So obviously I'm going to be behind the times compared to a teenager in terms of technology, but talking about it, you can learn from them new things in technology which maybe you can then use in the classroom potentially.
All right, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.